I do solemnly swear that I will be loyal to the profession of medicine. That I will prescribe regimen for the good of my patients. And above all else, first do no harm.
So here's what happened. Charlie got sick with horrible epilepsy. He failed all the available drugs, and brain surgery didn't work to stop his seizures. And eventually, we found the ketogenic diet in a library. We put Charlie on the ketogenic diet, and his seizures went away. When something like that happens to a family, there's this initial euphoria, and then all of a sudden you step back and you realize there's a world epilepsy population of over 50 million people. Most of those people start having their seizures as children, and only a small fraction ever find out about diet therapy for epilepsy. And I can tell you from our experience, almost as horrible as watching what Charlie went through was figuring out that 90% of what happened to him was unnecessary. So Nancy and I figured that we had to do something about trying to raise awareness of the ketogenic diet. We had no idea about how to go about something like that, so we started by writing a letter.
A few months ago, my husband and I received a letter from our friends, Jim and Nancy Abrams, who wanted to start up a new foundation in order to spread the word about the ketogenic diet. The letter began like this: Dear Meryl and Dawn.
So Meryl went on to narrate the entire introductory video to the ketogenic diet. And as fate would have it, one of the guys who was working on the crew with us when we made the video had a buddy who worked for Dateline NBC. His buddy said, "What are you doing?" And he said, "I'm working on this amazing video about a diet therapy for epilepsy."
From our studios in New York,
Jim says the original broadcast of Charlie's story was like the breaking of a dam. Tens of thousands of emails and letters from families with epileptic children flooded Jim's office.
And one of the letters that we got from somebody who was on the diet and saw Dateline that night was a true story about another family who had found the diet and had to go through extraordinary circumstances in order to get their kid on the diet.
Jim contacted the family, and what happened next could only happen in Hollywood.
So Annie Beckett wrote the screenplay for First Do No Harm. I sent the screenplay to Meryl. She read it, I think, in a day, and called the next day, and she said, "I'm in."
Mom, come quick! Something's wrong with Robbie! Hurry, Mom, hurry! Mom!
We called 911, and then the paramedics came over.
Yeah. At the end of the seizure, he rolled his eyes back and just knocked out. So I didn't even know if he was breathing at that point.
I felt her right arm jerking underneath of the blanket, and I unwrapped her, and she was just looking at me, smiling, and her right arm was jerking.
And I explained to the paramedics what happened, and they said, "Well, it sounds like your son may have had a seizure. Does he have a history of seizure?" And I said, no.
And it was such a dark, horrible time. And finally, one day I was getting a facial, and the esthetician said to me, because I told her about Connor and how, stressed out I was, and she said, "I just saw a movie on Lifetime. You have to see it."
What are you doing?
The phone's turned off. We didn't pay the bill.
Well, good. Then before we waked up at 5 in the morning by stupid people yelling we owe them money.
I have 10 minutes to get to the phone company. Will you watch him for me?
Uh-huh. You can't take money out of there. No one touches that money. That's the rule.
We have to have a phone, Mark. What if Robbie needs 911?
No, this is for our trip.
Hey! What trip? Mark, look at your brother. You really think we're going to take him on a trip? When they kick us out of our house, you think we're going to go on vacation?
Oh, well, I thought since I got an A in English, we'd be going down to Hawaii and take diving lessons like Dad said. Dumb me.
Oh, honey, I'm sorry.
Me too. I'm sorry Robbie was ever born.
Don't say that.
If he's gonna die, why doesn't he just hurry up and do it?
Mark!
My favorite part was
Mark!
when she's running after her older son because he's just feeling like all these emotions against her, his little brother.
Mom, it's a bad one.
Okay, darling. It's okay. It's over.
He's doing it again.
And she runs back in, and
It's okay,
and
honey.
she just sits there with him, like not even scared, or
It's okay. We're here.
there's no emotion left anymore. She's just waiting for the seizure to stop.
I identified with Meryl Streep's role that she played. I knew the role that she was playing, that was me. That was the parent. It's hard.
There's a lot of real heavy scenes in that movie that myself and my family have gone through.
So what are we supposed to do now?
Well, what people that don't have insurance do, we take them to county hospital.
And you're just gonna accept that?
You have a better idea?
Yeah, I do.
Just as the family and the head of the
What's in
family
the
and being a breadwinner and just the financial toll of not knowing where you're gonna get money to pay for that house, that medication.
Kansas City.
That's not your truck,
Transportation Health Plan. Hey, that's a flammables carrier, Dave.
Yeah, I put in a drive nights.
No way. No way. You promised. We agreed that you would never.
You know how many
under
thousands
any
of dollars we are in the
circumstances do that.
hole?
Well,
Huh?
okay, I'll take a telephone sales job and I can stay and work at home. We could go on welfare. But you are not going to drive a flammable
My
carrier.
family is not going on welfare.
There's no way you could make a dent in our debt with hazard pay. And do you know why they call it hazard pay in the first place?
The first treatment that we were told to try was Topomax.
So then they decided to bring in Lamictal.
And she started her on Trileptal.
Then different medications. We tried at least 5 or 6.
Trileptal was a process of 1 year, and now we're on Lamictal is another year. So it's 3 years now that we're on Keppra still.
We tried a VNS.
Then we added Depakote.
He was 2.5, and I had to decide, are we going to cut him open and put this big chunk of metal in there?
And it turned out Lamictal and Trileptal did not coincide with him and increased more seizures.
We tried Stiripentol from France, Clobazam from Canada.
We're to the point where we had to switch neurologists 3 times because we kept complaining about side effects.
Man, there's something wrong here. There's something really, really, really wrong. I bring my kid to you people for help, and all you do is make him sicker. You give him one drug, and then he needs another drug to cure him of the first one. And then he needs another drug to take away the side effects of that one. And another one, and another one, and another one. I mean, he has had a rash, swollen glands, a fever, constipation, hemorrhoids, bleeding gums, my God. And he acts like a drunk, a zombie, a psycho. And it's not because of his sickness. It's because of your cure.
And Meryl Streep was fighting with the neurologist, just like me. It was me. And then she got him on the diet, and she did what she had to do, and I'll never forget it because I started feeling, what's that feeling? And it was hope. So, wait, what's that?
And look. Just last year, published 1992. Johns Hopkins, they took 58 of the sickest kids, put them on the ketogenic diet, and almost a third of them had their seizures go away.
He woke up in the morning at UCLA. Those beds up there, they're pretty high.
On the second day of the diet, her myoclonics stopped. And we didn't even talk about it.
And I thought I was dreaming. I really, honestly thought I was dreaming. He got up out of the bed. He got down. He walked to the bathroom, pulled down his pants, used the restroom, pulled them back up, got back into the bed.
So 24 hours in, and my mom came in the hospital, and I was so excited. I said to her, he only had 5. And she was so excited because we went down from 100 whatever to 5.
We just sat there and stared at each other.
We just have this long history, and it's still kind of true today, is that it seems like whenever we talk about if she's on a good run without seizures, as soon as we talk about it, that's when she's going to have one.
And it was phenomenal because the school was saying he was so connected. He was learning, he was engaging, and he was communicating.
I'm pushing the button, to call the nurse, and I'm like bawling, I'm crying. I'm like, please, you guys gotta come and see this right now. And they come running in like, what's going on? What's going on? I said, he just got up and went to the bathroom. Oh, what happened? I said, well, he's never done that before. This is a miracle.
It was like too good to hope for. So he had 5. The next day, I think he had 2. And the next day, he had 0.
Too big to swing.
We all have opportunities to make decisions in life, and so the higher your celebrity, the more decisions are available for you to make. So when a person of Meryl Streep's accomplishment, ability, respect, decides to throw her hat in the ring and say, yeah, I'll help, that speaks a great deal to the kind of person she is.
Dear Dave, Lynn, and Mark, this is day 5. I'm holding my breath. No seizures for 3 whole days. Not one.
The fact that Meryl Streep took on that role, and not only took on that role, but became sort of a spokesperson in that movie, meant a lot to me. It really showed what kind of person she is.
For her to take on a topic, a role, a cause, or a risk, because it's you don't know. And she did it.
To take on the challenge of playing a parent like me that has, gone through the worst of lows, the extreme sadness and grieving that you go through.
Having seen someone like Meryl Streep portray, somebody like me or like those other moms out there, it makes me feel like we're not going unheard. Somebody's listening. And she just took our small voice and put it on the big screen and made it big, and that's wonderful. That's beautiful.
Watching her, I felt not only hope, but it gave me some strength. It gave me some strength to think, no, I'm pushing and we're going to do this and I'm not going to accept this anymore. It gave me some hope and some strength that I hadn't had. It had been beaten down out of me after years of just seizing and fighting and begging and pleading and no help and just being told just more meds, go home, next. And seeing Meryl Streep, the way she stood up to those neurologists and she said, this is what we're going to do and this is what I'm doing with my son. I thought it inspired me to be like that and to go with the diet and do what I had to do, take where I had to go and I realized watching it I could hope because it could work. Why wouldn't it work? It worked for her son who was just like Connor. She changed lives by doing that role, and I love her for that.